Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of RHI CHAI, RHI Stories of Courage, Hope, Attitude, and Inspiration, brought to our wonderful friends at Wilson Keyhole Winningham. And this morning, we have a wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Claudia Bechert, and she brought with her daughter, Tammys. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
We've had an opportunity to talk a little bit. You have a beautiful story. I can't wait for you to share it with everyone here. So let's just get started. Can you give us a little bit of a story? What brought you here to RHI?
It actually, I was here I had a stroke and an aneurysm, and in 2015, but before that, and then that after I left Methodist, I came here. But the journey started in 2014 in November when I was in a wheelchair and I couldn't take my dog out to go to the restroom because of the wheelchair wouldn't go through the thing. And the neighbor that used to take my dog out, she had to get a part-time job. And so I was able to give my neighbor, or a friend of mine, my dog, who sends me pictures every month of her to this day. But if I hadn't, then she would have gone who knows where when I had the stroke, because they had to sell my house. But anyway, then I had and something else happened in February, and then my blood pressure started going high, and they didn't know why. But then in May, I'd had surgery on my lower back, and in May, I had a pump that they had put in my back break, which was making my blood pressure high. And after that broke, and I was in rehab for that, after being in the hospital with withdrawals, they took me completely off of all the narcotics that I had been on since I was 36, so that I could continue working. But after I left that rehab, I was off of all the drugs, which leads me to what happened next was my father passing away. And then that next Saturday or Monday is when I had the stroke. And I ended up at Methodist Hospital. I had an aneurysm and a stroke and seizures. And I don't remember anything except for what happened before and what happened afterwards, except for what my kids tell me happened and everybody else. But because of God's timing, if all of this hadn't happened before I had the stroke, I wouldn't be here today, because I wouldn't have made it with all those drugs in my body. So that was a good thing. But that's what brought me to RHI.
And how long was your stay at Methodist while you were there?
It was like 29 days. I had to be out within the 30 days.
Okay. And then you were brought to RHI.
Yeah, by ambulance, and I didn't remember anything after the day I fell at the house.
Okay, so when did you start remembering your stay here at RHI? How long had you been here?
I'd say 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
They took me to 1, and I was there for a while, and then they moved me up to 2, and I don't remember anything about 1. The second week I was there, I was told by the nurses for 2 nights I didn't sleep at all. I sang songs, you know, Jesus loves me, this little light of mine, because I was fighting the devil because of the fact that I didn't want him to win.
Hmm.
And so for 2 nights I didn't sleep. I guess I sang loud enough that everybody heard. But I don't care. But that next morning, after those 2 nights, is when I started trying to drink and feed myself.
Okay. Well, Tammy, can you fill in a little bit of that? What?
When she came here from Methodist, she was unresponsive. Like,
Okay.
was just like, literally just laying there.
A vegetable.
That had to be scary.
Really scary.
And so, when did you start noticing that she was responding to some of the treatment therapy here?
I would say probably a week and a half. She started doing a lot better, moving. They got her learning how to drink and do stuff with her
I
hands.
think the first thing I had was a banana.
Can you
I
tell
actually
us?
held a banana.
Can you tell us a little bit what kind of therapy were you doing while you were here?
Oh, I did everything. They had me, I did the wheelchairs, and learned how to do the wheelchair, because before, I was still in a wheelchair until the last week when they started physical therapy. I went to speech therapy. I went to eye therapy because I was blind in this eye. I went to people that helped me remember how to do my paycheck, or not paycheck, my checkbook. Speech therapy.
Start all over.
I had to start all over again. But by the grace of God, I still remembered that. I mean, it just had to be brought out. And the angels here, therapist here, that helped me through that was a blessing, because instead of being wheeled out of the RHI when I left, I walked out with a cane.
That's
A
incredible.
walking stick. So, and then the Lark, I would have never, he was my best friend. He was, can you get that? That was the therapist dog at the time. And he helped me move my, I was able to rub him to move my hands, get my hands working. And they were just perfect people. They challenged me and kept me going, because you just have to want to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that other people needed me, which helped make me go too.
Well, you bring up a very important point. You just said you have to want to get better, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work going through and relearning everything, isn't it?
yeah, and you just can't let, my faith got me through everything. And my family, my friends, people I didn't even know came to Methodist. They came here, and they just helped me through it. So it was great. It was I loved it here. The 2 weeks that I've been back to visit a number of times to see some of the people that, the nurses and stuff. Plus, when I got my award, what is that called?
For Patient of the Year?
For Patient of the Year, I also received a stone that has my name on it that goes into the garden and back. I haven't been able to find that one yet, but I'm going to come and do that in the spring. But my My mind just left me. What was I talking about? I got to talking about.
About coming back.
Oh yeah, I come back as often as I can, and especially to all my daughter and especially my granddaughter, like coming back on the nights they have the patient of the year, because she started when she was 13 and now she's 16 and still enjoys coming because she likes to hear all of the miracles that happen here.
And there's a lot of miracles, and you're one of them.
Yeah.
You are one of them, to come leave the hospital walking and talking and all that. Well, one of the reasons why we do RHI CHAI is because we do want to provide words of courage, hope, attitude, and inspiration. Is there anything before we close out that you want to say to someone who's maybe here right now, experiencing something, a very similar story to yours, maybe recovering from a brain injury or a stroke? What's something that you could give them?
All I could give them is love yourself, love others, and you just got to believe that God has a purpose for you, and you're still here to prove that purpose. And it's a wonderful thing. I came out a much better person physically because of what I went through. So I'm a happy camper.
And we're such happy campers for being able to meet you. What an inspiration you are to I know for me, and I know to our viewers that are going to be watching this. And if her story has been an inspiration, so much of what happens is because of donations from private donors and our sponsors. And so if you would love to give back to the foundation so we can continue hearing more stories like this, just click on the link that we have with this video, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much.